WandaVision, episode 6. Man, this show continues just to be this incredibly interesting journey. Every episode, I'm like, there's no way they can top themselves. And each episode, I'm surprised at the lengths they are going to just to be something different. It's unbelievable, actually. I really hope it sticks the landing, because if it does, I think it's going to be some top-tier Marvel content. That's pretty impressive to say. So, like every episode, we're entering the world of a sitcom from a classic decade, and we're entering the 90s pretty much, or the early 2000s. It's kind of vague on what they're really doing there, but it's Malcolm in the Middle. It's Malcolm in the Middle. So much to the point that Billy and Tommy can both talk directly to the camera when they're in the sitcom world. It's shot from Billy's perspective pretty much. Billy is pretty much becoming our main character this episode, which is pretty sick. That was really cool to see. And that opening, just song where he's running around with the camera, going to the room with everybody in it, that was pretty fun to see. We're really leaning into that Evan Peters is Pietro Maximoff, which I'm like, we'll see what happens. I don't know. But I like that a lot. So it's Halloween. Remember how last episode Vision was like, why are there no kids in Westview? Well, here are all the kids. And we'll come back to that in a bit. But you're just like, that's some good setup, man. I'm really enjoying the way that's being presented and told to us. But the idea is we're going to go trick-or-treating. Tommy doesn't want to dress up, but his uncle's like, I'm going to go dress up too. So we see that everyone's wearing their classic costumes from the comics. Wanda calls her costume, like a Sokovian fortune teller, and Vision's looking like a professional wrestler and all that stuff, which is kind of fun. I'm liking that energy a lot. It's Halloween, we're going to have fun. But Vision is like, I'm going to go patrol neighborhood watch just because stuff like this, I need to know the answers. So he leaves against Wanda's wishes, and she's starting to realize I can't control him. So that's kind of exciting. That's pretty exciting to see. I like that a lot. We cut back between the real world and the sitcom world a lot in this episode, just because we need to set up the tension for the end. And I like the idea that we're getting our classic Marvel trio, Jimmy, Monica, and Darcy. They're becoming some fan favorites, I think, which is pretty cool. And we see that Hayward wants them out of there. They're just causing trouble. They don't like the idea that we have to kill Wanda. And now there's like, get them out of here. We have to go. And we get a nice action scene where Jimmy actually punches some people. They're going to break back into the Sword headquarters to figure out some information, which I thought was a pretty cool thing to see. I was like, awesome. Jimmy's doing more stuff. I feel like out of every character in this show, the surprise hit with the biggest reaction has been to Randall Park, which I'm just like, cool. Let's catch up to it, everybody. I was very skeptical of him in episode 4, but now I'm like, bring on the Jimmy Woo. He's proven himself to me. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm glad he's getting this recognition. That's pretty sick. Man, he's going to be an Aquaman too. That's kind of fun. Great stuff, man. Just great stuff all around for this show. I like it too, as when we're doing the Halloween scene and we're walking down the street. Pietro is talking like everything. Pietro is very much aware of the world around him. He knows it's all fake. He's trying to talk to Wanda like, you're doing a pretty good job controlling everything, and all this information is being just presented to them. And he's just having fun with the kids. It's that kind of classic stuff. We get a reference to Kick-Ass, which I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Out of everything I expected to see in this episode, I was not expecting a reference to Kick-Ass because, of course, Evan Peters and Aaron Taylor Johnson both were in that movie, and they're both Quicksilvers, which I'm like, of course you had to make the joke. I just didn't expect you to do it. And I was just pretty impressed with that. So the Halloween and stuff is pretty cool. We see that Tommy is dressed up like his uncle, and we see that there's kind of like a mix of some random costume going on of Billy, but it's clearly inspired by Wiccan, which you're like, that's pretty cool. I'm very curious to see if they're going to be aged up at the very end of this and become full-on like teenagers. Very curious. Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if that's what happened. Got to admit, pretty impressive stuff. But I think my favorite part of this episode was some of just like the behind the scenes stuff when it came to Vision, how he's just walking down the street, and the further he gets away from Wanda and he's still inside that bubble, the further he gets away, the cracks start to fade. Like he's looking at this couple, they're standing on their lawn, but they're just mimicking the same movements over and over again, like hanging up a shirt, picking up a bag and that kind of stuff. And you see a tear run down the woman's face, and that's where I was like, you have to tell me this is all Wanda. I don't need some bullshit Mephisto or Agatha, anything. This has to be Wanda. because that is a very dark scene. That, I think, compared to a lot of the stuff we've seen previously in the show and in everything else, that is the scene that made me go, this is really disturbing, because it was just an invasion of your personal being. You can't control it. You can't do anything about that. You are just, succumbing to the whim of this woman, and you cannot control yourself, and you're just doing this mindless notion, just walking about, and you can't stop that from happening, which is very scary and very dark. In the stuff with Vision too, the more further he gets away from that, people are just standing still and not even moving. Their consciousness is still aware, but they can't even move. And he finds Agatha at the end of that, and Agatha is just like not even doing anything. I say Agatha, we all kind of think she's Agatha Harkness. I meant to say Agnes because they kind of set up that maybe she's not Agatha. Catherine Hahn has been incredible, but at this point, when she is just frozen at pretty much the end of the wall in her car, and Vision frees her, and she starts freaking out like, oh man, am I dead? You're an Avenger. And she's like, what are you talking about? It's like, you're dead. Because, of course, Vision doesn't remember anything that happened, and now he's like, I'm not dead? And he starts to clue into certain things, and Agatha does her creepy witch laugh, which I know why they're doing this. I think we can all agree it's Agatha Harkness, but they're kind of setting it up at this point to make me go, maybe she's not. I wouldn't be surprised if they just said she's a different character altogether or a nobody, but we're all kind of in agreement that's Agatha Harkness, so I'm going to continue to think that she is, but I won't be surprised if she's just some random person in the town. We'll have to wait and see. That's all I'm going to say on that. But that scene with her, with Catherine Hahn and Paul Bettany in that scene, man, that was just the darkest thing ever, too. A lot of dark, creepy stuff going on in this episode. And I just love the way she drives away after getting her mind put back in place to Wanda's control. And Vision just looks ahead and slowly starts to walk away, just trying to find that border. That was really intense and creepy. Man, that made me go, this is really insane. This is dark. It's really creepy. I love Paul Bettany in this episode. He's doing some of the best work he's ever done. Absolutely insane. We get some more references to the stuff outside of the sitcom world too. Monica's aerospace engineer is coming. I wonder who it's going to be. I know everyone's like, it's Reed Richards, it's James Rhodes and all that. I have a feeling it's going to be Blue Marvel. What's the character's, the alias of that character? Blue Marvel. I'll put up a picture, but that's who I think it's going to be that shows up. I don't know. And we see that Darcy's going to stay behind. They kind of got some information on Hayward, and they've been tracking the Vision to make sure he's still alive and everything like that. But Darcy's going to stay behind and kind of hack into Hayward's personal stuff while Monica and Jimmy go meet up with her contact there. And so we know, okay, Darcy's here. Everyone else is over there. Now we got that in our mind. That's where Darcy is. We'll be aware of what's happening later. We go back to the Halloween day. Things are getting really intense there. There's some really interesting moments where Pietro is just seeping through the cracks of Wanda's reality, and he's aware of everything. It's it's kind of nice you could just use your powers, just walk about having fun. The kids are just enjoying themselves, just completely just abandoning the idea that we have to hide ourselves because it's the 2000s. Who gives a shit, I like that a lot. We see that the kids start to develop their powers. First, it's Tommy, who running up to a very rich neighborhood to get full-size candy bars. Classic thing you hear about in sitcoms too is the kid wanting the full-size candy bar. I like that a lot. And then later on, we'll see that Billy starts to get his powers forming too, which is kind of exciting. We get some really nice moments actually between Elizabeth Olsen and Evan Peters where they're just talking about how are you doing this? He asks, how are you doing this? I'm not S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm not S.W.O.R.D., I'm not even your husband. I am your brother. You can tell me what is going on here. And she just tells him, I just remember feeling pain, and then I just did this. Not anything really to say about it. You're not giving us any clear information on what you were doing there, Wanda, but I get that. Why spoil the big reveal? In the same way, this is, again, a very dark show. In the same way that we saw Vision with his head caved in episode 3, we see an Evan Peters covered in dust and the bullet holes in him from the Aaron Taylor Johnson version. And you're like, Wanda is just alone. She's just alone. That's pretty dark and creepy, but man, that was some good moments. I like too, I forgot to bring this up earlier. I like too, we get a reference to Evan Peters calling her kids the demon spawn, which makes me go, okay. That's either just a subtle thing that some people outside the comic book world don't know, but we're all yeah, Mephisto helped there, yeah. I wonder if we're going to see him. I was starting to think maybe not. I was starting to think maybe it's going to be Evan Peters. I don't know anymore. This didn't answer any questions for me. It just made me go, this is really insanely good. You have just proven to me you know what you're doing, Disney. I love it. Very impressive stuff we are seeing, man. I just thought it was very cool. And we see that Billy has a vision, or he starts hearing his father, and he's just like, what's going on with Dad? And his dad's trying to like peer through the wall, and we see him struggling to get out of the wall because he wants to find what's going on outside of Westview. And all of Sword shows up. They're just ready to attack him, and Vision just crawling through, but he's tethered to that reality. He's only alive because of that reality. So the moments he keeps pulling through, he's breaking apart. And that makes Wanda go, nope, I'm not having any of this. This is getting a little too crazy for me. And she just starts to expand everything, which made me go, holy shit. Really? That's dark AF, man. Holy cow. That was creepy. Because that scene where we see the bubble of Westview expanding and everybody who's getting caught up into it just turning into these weird sadistic clowns or like this weird circus area, that's really dark. Because now you're just thinking, they are so far away from Wanda. These people are essentially losing their humanity and becoming these puppets. That is very scary. Very scary. I don't like that. I'm just like, that sucks. Hayward manages to escape, but Darcy gets caught up in it, which I'm guessing we're going to see Darcy play a major role in one of the next episodes just because she's been a main character. We have to see what she's doing. Monica and Jimmy have luckily escaped. We also see that Monica's DNA has been altered to the cellular level by going through the force field and coming back out. So there's something affecting her about that, which makes people go, maybe this is the way we get mutants. Is Wanda going to expand her bubble across the entire world and suddenly a select populace are going to start appearing with these powers? Wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know. Very weird, very scary, very intense. And you're like, how could it be that intense? It's the Malcolm in the Middle episode. But still, it is very creepy, man. The what was the advertisement? The commercial was like a Yo Magic, which is like a yogurt. You know, for when you need to get your mind off things or you need to help yourself with something. That's pretty cool. I'm liking it a lot. This felt like a Nickelodeon type of show, which was kind of enjoyable to see. The way that Evan Peters played Pietro, very likable and very charming. Again, Elizabeth Olsen has just been crushing it and doing some very intense stuff, which I'm just thoroughly amazed by. Everyone is just killing it, and this show continues to be something special. Like, everything it did was just so cool. It set up some great tension. It gave us some great reveals. I'm very impressed with it, and I'm super excited to see what's going to happen with Billy and Tommy, just because I think those characters are going to surprise a lot of people in what they become. I like it a lot. So, I just can't believe we got a Kick-Ass reference. That made me so impressed. And I'm thinking now, oh yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson's coming back. At some capacity, we saw him in the previously on. I think he's coming back. And if he doesn't, that is a shame because he's a pretty good character. So that is my review of WandaVision Episode 6. What did you guys think of this episode? Did it give you any answers you wanted? Did it just give you more questions? To me, I like the questions. I don't need the answers right away, but I like that maybe there's something else going on with Agnes/Agatha. I like that maybe something's going to happen with Darcy now. I like that we're seeing Vision trying to escape his wife, which is very exciting. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Evan Peters Pietro. That's pretty exciting to see. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.